All opinions are those of the participants making them and are not an endorsement of any position, program, religion, or political affiliation. DFG's Corner is for information, observation, and entertainment. I ask that you comment, like, share, and subscribe.
Good evening, everyone. This is DFG, the man with the golden voice, the lady's choice, and of course, smooth as a Rolls Royce. Coming to you from 571, where I'm having fun and I'm getting things done. So tonight is going to be a big, deep conversation that we're going to have, and it's going to talk about the Black family. I'm going to play a clip in a second here. Just let me pull it up, and it's going to cover what the Black family, things that happen within the Black family that, that's happening today. This gentleman, I've heard of him before, but he has a very good way of putting things.
There's a talk I give on the phone.
And I'm gonna play it. Just let me share it for a second. Fair use. Fair use, fair use. And here we go.
Challenge is the existential crisis of the Black family. The existential crisis of the Black family. Marriage in our culture is down to 34%. When we were growing up, it was 85%, is now down to 34%. 71% of our sisters are not married, 29% will never get married, 63% of our brothers are not married, 30% of them will never get married. There is no culture in the history of humankind that has risen to maximize their full human potential without family at the center of their culture. This only exists. This is an interesting but negative statistic. This phenomenon of the existential crisis of our family only exists among African American Black people. It does not exist on the continent or anywhere else in the diaspora. So there must be something in the water. We must fix this. It is a lot easier said than done because it is impacting our wealth. Quick statistics. For 350 years, household median income was dominated by white people. They were number one in this country. They no longer are number one, they're number three, and there's a reason for it. So, who has the highest household median wealth in America? It's East Indians, $104,000 a year. What's the marriage rate in the East Indian culture? 94%. Two are working. Who's number two? Chinese Asians. Household median income, $110,000 a year. Marriage rate close to 70%. Number three are white people. Household median income, $88,000 a year. What's the marriage rate? Almost 50%. Down significantly. Number four are Hispanics. Household median income, $61,000 a year. Marriage rate, close to 70%. We are at the bottom. Household median income, $55,000 a year. Marriage rate, 34%. And projected, based on facts and statistics, that if we do not fix this, because white folks ain't fixing this, our marriage rate will be in the low teens in the next 20 years. This is an enormous challenge. That's a whole talk by itself on how do we fix it. It can be fixed, but we have to, first of all, understand that this is a problem. No one's talking about this problem. This is a huge problem. It's the number one problem in our culture. So we must fix it.
Oh.
There's a talk I give on the 5 biggest
That was an excellent breakdown on what we're looking at and the issues that we're having, especially, and it's partially our fault as Gen Xers, because everybody in the room tonight are Gen Xers. Miss Kim, Cousin Nicole, Miss Summer, we're all Gen Xers, and our parents growing up our parents were married. Um, Nicole, her parents are still married. They're still living. They've been married. How long have your parents been married, Nicole? I know you busy, but I'm sure you can answer that.
Um, my God, 59 years?
59 years. Now that's black love. So listening to that to the gentleman speak, what did you get out of that, Miss Summer? Because I know that you're married.
Oh, wow. Um, I just think it has a lot to do with society and how, first of all, we are viewed as Black people today.
But who's
Oof.
viewing us? Why should we care about what white people think of us or any other race? Why do we
Right.
view
Well,
each other like
even
that?
even even just our own race, looking at our own selves in today's society. I mean, it's just we whether it's, I don't know, movies or music, we I guess what I'm trying to say is I think the Cosbys, I'm just going to use that as an example. Me growing up was the first time that I've seen Black people that actually were portrayed to be educated. They had a family, they were together, they worked through things together. And so I think that was like that played a big part in my mindset about, wanting that and goals and things of that nature. But I think in today's society, um, it, it, I don't, we as Black women are not viewed, in my opinion, as thank God for Barack and Michelle holding it down in the White House, shedding good light, but we don't always get good light on us. We are made to be, and I'm just speaking for myself personally. I know with roles and things that I have been afforded, I was the drug dealer or the cracked out mom or things of that nature, and but it's reflecting a lot on a lot of things that are going on in today's society. So I mean, it's just shedding more positive light on us, and even just us as looking at us as a people. We don't always get portrayed in a good light. So when we have someone who is married for a long time, someone who is educated, I think that is important to keep them up, keep them, keep the light shown on them to show that our kids that you can in fact be a president, you can be a doctor, you can be, a lawyer. You don't have to be the video vixen. You don't have to just be, on the street selling drugs. You don't have to, so it's a lot of uplifting our own people and shedding light and exposing them to a lot of positive things to let them know that they can make it. They can do it. I mean, we are no different from anyone else. We just get portrayed differently a lot of times. So,
Asking that, let me ask you a question. And I understand the thing about the Cosby Show because um, in the '80s when it first came out, a lot of us wouldn't believe that it would work because most of us hadn't seen, like you said, the highly educated dad's a doctor, mom's a lawyer. They've been together. They're not screaming at each other. They're not. It wasn't. In good times they were married. James and Florida were married, but they were always struggling.
mhm,
So
right.
we're used to seeing that struggle love, and we're used to seeing that. So in your wedding, in your matrimony, how did you feel about um what the black love is today that you probably didn't see when you were growing up on a consistent basis outside of TV?
Well, I had a very positive upbringing, even though my dad was in the military and he kind of traveled a lot. Um, he and my mom have been married for about, I think they're going on 49 years this August coming up. And I was with my dad. I'm the oldest. I have two younger brothers, but I am the first child, and I saw a lot of struggle, but I don't know how to explain it. So growing up in military housing, I remember not like dad having speakers and he had a sound system, but they were on cinder blocks. And we had a couch and we did not have much, but we were happy. And then as we progressed as a family, when my brothers came and my father slowly, I was there for that slow climb. So I saw that. Um, I saw the struggle, but I also saw them wanting a better way for their children. So I was there. My youngest brother, he's a little bit more, I don't know how to explain it. He expects things to be this way. There is no struggle. You go to college, you get your job. He's more of a modern way of thinking, and I mean, not a modern way of thinking. I'm trying to find the words to explain it, but he is more of a this is to be expected. Whereas we were like, okay, we got to work to get this. He has that mind frame as well, but it's the climb per se is not his way of thinking is not the way it was for me. So I think
Okay.
I saw more. So
And that's understandable. My parents were married. They split up, but they were back and forth. They were back and forth until my father passed. He was married. He was 17 and she was 19 when they got married. He was 18 and my mother was 20 when I came along. So I've always knew I always knew people being married. Marriage was something that was practiced, but there were a whole lot of things that happened during the 70s, 80s, and in the 90s that changed the definition of marriage, and not only marriage but family. Um, Ms. Kim and I had a conversation one time, and we were talking about how similar our families were in the contemporary, and almost everybody in this group tonight has, people got married back then. In 1960, the stats said that 80% of the Black community were married. But were those marriages always good? We can't say we weren't there most of the time, but we understood that some of the problems that we're having today that they had back then. But saying that, people stayed together, good, bad, indifferent. They were all about their business. Today, it's not necessarily about going through stuff because we're in a throwaway society. That's kind of why we're in the situation we're in now. Um, he snores, leave. She leave her sock on the floor, leave. You know, I wanted eggs and she wanted bacon. We fight, leave. And things have become so easier to walk away that when we were more financially dependent on each other, and I say that, and I say that not to say that, especially in Black households, both parents worked. From far as I can know, my great grandmother had a job, grandmother had a job, my mother had a job. You know, everybody had to work because we weren't making as much as we would have liked to make, but we made do. And like you said, you might have been considered um, poor. I would say y'all were broke, but y'all wasn't poor because poor is a mentality. Poor is a mentality. You can have no money and still not be poor. You cannot have resources and still not be poor.
Thanks for watching. This is the man with the golden voice, the lady's choice, and of course, smooth as a Rolls Royce, saying, never make love by the garden gate, though love is blind, the neighbor's ain't.